I was fortunate enough to go as well and support these guys, and I must say, I've shot for 26 years, and I've still never experienced anything like that myself in any competition, so it was very, very once in a lifetime experience. Yes, ma'am. How do you get to that point, guys? How much work?
You know, it's a lot of work. It's, you know, in any sport, you have to be the best in the country to go. You know, for us, I think Jake figured it out. To make the Olympic team, you had to shoot about 1,000 arrows over 3 tournaments for a score. And every one of those arrows went to trying to make that team. You know, they say, 4 to 6 years to become nationally competitive, 10 to 12 to become internationally if you make a good push. You know, of course, the harder you work, the more it gets, but I've been fortunate enough to make 2 teams now. And, the first one I made after picking up a bow for 2 years, and I shot 500 arrows a day, 6 days a week to get there. You know, over the last 4 years, I didn't shoot as much because I knew my form a little bit better, but it was still 300 or 400 arrows a day, going to every single tournament you can to get the experience. It's, it's a lot of work, and you go through the system, go through your guide clubs, find good coaches, go out to the training center, learn from guys like Jake and I. You know, you can always come up and ask us anything, and as long as we're not late to go shoot on the line, we'll answer any questions you have. But you just go through the process, shoot a bunch of arrows, trying to get to the top, and the biggest thing is mentally being able to handle the pressure, and you have to shoot good in the OR, and that's the big thing is win matches to get to the Olympics in our travel process. It's a long, hard process, but the more work you put into it, the better chance you have.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, when I moved out of the training center in 06, and from the point that I moved out there to the point that I made the team, I shot 470,000 arrows. So less than 5 years. So do the math. And I think that question would be better suited for our wives to tell you. The amount of work that we put in. They deal with a lot of travel schedule and us saying, no, I gotta go back, I gotta go to the range, just give me 5 more minutes, and then it turns into 3 hours. It's a long, grueling process, but it's worth it. It's definitely a lifelong goal, and we achieved it, so I'm grateful for it.
And then the light sight, the newest Axcel Achieve sight, do you offset weights on your stabilizers to account for the weight of the sight?
Our tabs are AAE, the KSL Gold tab. I think it's the only brass one on the market. I don't know, there might be one overseas by now, but yeah, AAE, the KSL Gold tab is what we use. And then as far as the sight being lighter, that's, I think, a good thing for us, because the lighter you can make, in my opinion, the lighter you can make your riser and the more weights you can put on your stabilizers, the better your bow's going to hold, because you get, you have better leverage. If you have a bunch out here and then out here, instead of, a little bit of all 3 corners and then a bunch on the handle, it's a little different, but, I like the lighter sight. I like being able, I don't know if I would say I put more on my bow, but I noticed that having a lighter sight doesn't affect the way my bow jumps or does anything like that. Like when the sight's lighter, I don't have to adjust for it anymore. I can balance my bow a little more even. Like I don't feel my sight as much. So for me, that's the big thing.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. We shoot the KSL tab as well from AAE. Specifically, we worked with them one-on-one to design it. It's ergonomically to fit your hand. So there's specific shapes and bends in the tab itself to help hold your hand in a very specific shape. That not only works with the method that we shoot, but all methods. It really is beneficial to that. So it's definitely something to check out for sure. And same thing with the sight. I just feel like my bow is a little more freer. It jumps a little more clean. It doesn't want to torque on me or twist on me when it releases. So it's definitely a benefit. As far as have I changed my sight setup or stabilizer setup? I mean, maybe a third of an ounce or something here or there, maybe an angle change, but nothing extreme.
Yes, sir. Okay, George, I think he's experienced some use without the lock, so I'll let him answer this question. Benefit of with or without the locking mechanism on the HE side?
Well, with the locking mechanism, your sight can't accidentally be moved. When your bow is sitting there unattended or whatever. But it'll also relieve any problem, whether if you've got the sight locked down and you're shooting multiple arrows at a single distance, that it's definitely not going to move or go anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much the same as George just said. You know, you hate to ever think of somebody to ever move your side or anything like in that realm. But we get at big events and we set our equipment down in the equipment area. You never know who's around and who could touch it. You just kind of one of the things, keeping an honest person honest. You know.
As a recurve user, would you guys prefer a locking mechanism or unlocking on the new site?
I mean, for me personally, because I've never had a sight that locks, just out of habit, I would give it clicks, and I feel like I move my sight a fair amount. So I just by chance might not unlock it, like threw a couple clicks in it, but I do like the idea of shooting a single distance like this, you know, at like 20 yards or whatever, to lock it. But again, I still lose it too much, and I'm in a habit to where I don't have to unlock it, so I choose not to lock it.
I personally like to lock. I leave it unlocked when I'm shooting because I give it clicks all the time. But you know, I like to lock because, you know, kind of like they say, I step away from my bow and I lock this sight down, and you know, someone goes up to turn it, they feel like they turn it, but your sight doesn't move. And you know, just I know that little bit of insurance that if I lock my sight, you know, if someone goes to play with it or do something like that, hopefully never happens, but you know, they have to spend more time trying to figure out how to unlock it to move it than just go up there and turn it. So you know, it's just a little bit extra, you know, insurance, I guess, make you feel a little more comfortable.
It's kind of one of those things, it's better to have it and not use it than not have it and want it. So, next question. Yes, sir. As far as training, more weight training or more cardio training?
Specifically, what I choose to do, I choose to use a system that's called Flexor. I don't know if, I mean, you've heard it from me before personally, but as far as what would benefit you more, definitely more cardio. Not only because you can help regulate your pulse, you know, your heart rate, and also recover quicker, but also if you're flying, traveling, you can recover from that traveling quicker, from dehydration, from jet lag, from whatever. So the more fit you are, the quicker you can recover. But also weight training, it is good, but it causes a lot of issues. You're going to tighten a lot of muscles up and cause a lot of binding. So you need to make sure that you're stretching more often than if you're going to, you know, start lifting weights. It is good to have good grip strength and all this stuff and good core strength. So, you know, personally I focus on a lot of more core, you know, legs and core and stuff like that. I don't do crazy, like I don't do cleans and snatches or anything like that because it's you know, nothing beneficial for shooting itself. So.
Yeah, I like the cardio game a little bit more, but for me personally, like hours behind the bow helps more than an hour or two in the gym. That's just my personal opinion. You know, being strong helps, especially in the wind, but I'd rather try to shoot 150 more hours a day than go work out for an hour. But that's just me. That's what helps me the most.
Perfect. Next question. Yes, sir. Greg? The fuse stabilizer, with the shape, the weights, is a real benefit with the flat side.
Yeah, I switched to fuse, you know, and I love it. You're still going to get blown around. Your arm's still going to get blown. Your bow's still going to get blown around. But for me, I never have any more where, you know, you're up in the wind and you're out here and you're stabilizer, you feel your stabilizer, the front of your stabilizer kick out and your bow torque this way or torque that way. Everything I have now is in a straight line, back and forth. And now, like, I never have any more shots that when I shoot, that my bow, as you know, get hit by a gust of shoot or something, then my bow kicks like this because the wind takes that stabilizer. Everything kicks straight, you know, and I get to throw it which way I want now, and the bow reacts. And never having to try to fight that afterwards. And also for me, the few stabilizers only flex in really one direction. They only really flex up and down. They're so stiff, you know, this way that they don't really flex in that plane at all. They only really flex up and down. And for me on my recurve, like, I think that that's huge because my limbs only flex this way. My riser only flex this way. And my stabilizers only flex this way. So now my whole entire bow is flexing on one plane and not coming outside.
I found the same thing as Brady. To me, when I first started shooting them, everybody says, well, do you see a difference? And I'm like, well, I don't have two bows in each hand going, well, this one moves this one moves that way. So to say that you can tell an exact difference, I can't say that it makes that big a difference. But the one thing I did find, and just like Brady said a lot of, is when my bow moved in the wind and I come to bring it back, I used to feel like I'd have to torque it back because the stabilizer would have made an extra torque in the bow. And now with my few blades, I'll come back straight into it and I can go right back into the shot versus having to feel like I still got to fight that stabilizer to bring it back in. And that, to me, that is the biggest advantage because, like I say, I'm a big believer in how long your shot process is. And so anything I can do to keep it fairly quick and then things going like that, I'm going to be, you know, a lot further ahead. I don't have to fight as much, so at the end of the day, I won't be as tired either.
Next question. Yes, sir. How do you deal with traveling and exotic food? Here in the States or Mexico, France?
It's tough to deal with the travel. I mean, I've worked with Brady. If you wake up at 2 in the morning at the same time when you're traveling, put on another movie and hope you fall back asleep. Food could be another part. I mean, you should see the room when we get to another country. I mean, we both bring enough food to feed an army because you don't know what you're going to end up eating. You don't know. I mean, in the morning you go down for breakfast and you have runny eggs, and you never know what you're going to end up eating. So a lot of times you take something that, you know, at least you can get by and have that kind of stuff in that manner. Or where you're out in the field, you have something that's going to give you at least enough energy to get through the day. And to me, those are the big things that I look at. And travel-wise, you just got to learn to deal with it. It's not, there's no glamour in it at all. My wife's like, man, everybody says it's so glamorous, and she said, I did it with you twice. I said, no, it's not fun. But that's kind of how I do it.